let's learn about percent composition. So percent composition is the percentage of each element's mass within a given compound. So it's a formula that you're using to find how much of a particular element's mass contributes to the entire compound. So percent composition is calculated by taking the mass of an element, so the total mass of all of that single element in that compound, divided by the molar mass, meaning the mass of the entire compound. You're going to multiply by 100 to get that percent. A simple way to think about this is part divided by whole times 100 gets you a percent composition. So let me do an example for you right here. Here we have aluminum bromide, okay? So the first thing you need to do is find the mass of the entire compound so that we can use that number to calculate percent composition. So first we need to find out how many aluminums we have in this compound, and we have exactly 1. So 1 times, using the periodic table here, our aluminum is 26.98. So right here, you're gonna write 1 times 26.98 is equal to 26.98. So that is the total mass of all the aluminums I had in that compound. Next, I'm going to do bromine. And over here, you can see that I have 3 bromines. So 3 times, according to the periodic table, bromine is 79.9. So then I'm going to write 3 times 79.9 is equal to, and so if you have your handy dandy calculator, that would be helpful. So 79.9 times 3 is equal to 239.7. So I'm going to write 239.7. Whoops, if I can find my mouse. And this is the total bromines that I have in this compound. Big mistake here is a lot of people want to just put 79.9, but you have 3 of them. So you have to account for all of the bromines in that compound. Okay, so we're going to take that number, take these numbers, and now calculate the total mass of the compound. So you got to add these 2 numbers up to find the total mass. So we're going to do 239.7 plus 26, plus 26.98, and then we're going to find out that the total mass is 266.68. So we'll write that number here, 266.68. 266.68 is the mass of the entire compound. So I see I color coded everything. The entire compound is 266.68. Now, in order to find the percent composition of each element, okay, starting with aluminum, you got to take aluminum's, right, number 26.98. So we're going to do 26.98. You're going to divide it by the total of the compound. So if I were to color code this, this was the total compound. This was aluminum, right? We're going to multiply by 100 to get our percent composition. So right here, you would do 26.98 divided by 266.68. You multiply by 100 to get a percent, and we get 10 point, if I rounded it, 12%. It's a very small number, okay? So let's do bromine. Bromine, okay, once again, don't make the mistake. We don't put 79.9 up here because we have 3 of them. We have to account for all of them. So we're going to put 239.7 divided by the total, like this. So we are going to color code. So I got to use this green number over this yellow number. I have to multiply by 100, right, to get our percentage. So right here, 239.7 divided by 266.68, whoops, times 100 gets us 89.88%. So 89.88%. Look how big this number is compared to this number. And you should know by now that when you add up your percentages together, you should get a total of 100%. That's how you know you did it right. So they do add up to 100. What does this number tell us? That in our compound of aluminum bromide, almost 90% of the mass is from bromines. Like bromines contribute a ton of mass into the compound. Look at aluminum's percentage here. Aluminum only accounts for 10% of the mass in this compound. So that's what the percentages tell us, okay? All right, so I'm going to basically talk about this Oreo right here. This is a thin Oreo. Look how skinny it is. And I want to know the percent composition of cookie versus cream filling inside. Okay, so how are we going to do that? Well, we need to first find out the mass of the entire cookie. So let me blow this up for you. Hopefully it like zooms in for you so we can see the mass of the cookie. So I'm going to put a little paper on here. We're going to clear the screen there. Okay, and then I'm going to put this wonderful cookie here. The total mass of this cookie is what? 7.2 grams. So the entire cookie is 7.2 grams. Okay, so now what are we going to do? We're now going to take this and I am going to then break it apart because I want to know the percent composition. So we're going to do this also carefully. I'm going to break this apart. And now I have to sit here and scrape off all the cream fillings. So I have just cookie. So here I have just cookie. And now I'm going to go back to my scale here and put just the cookies on here. So if I do just the cookies, no icing, it's 5.5 grams. So here, just wafers, 5.5. So we can already tell that the majority of the mass of our cookie is from the cookie itself, from the wafer. Now I'm going to do the same thing, but I'm going to put the icing on there. So let's carefully. There's my icing. My icing is 1.7 grams. So the cream filling is 1.7 grams. Now, if I were to add these two numbers together, right, cookie and cream, then what should I get? I should get the mass of the entire cookie. So here, 567.2, it actually works out. Sometimes, though, like when you're doing this in real life, like you lose part of the cookie or you lose part of the cream, like it doesn't completely add up well. And so if that happens, you know, that's just part of the error of the lab. Like you not perfect, like we're using really ghetto materials. I'm using a cool spoon here. So it doesn't always come out perfectly, and you have to account for that when you're talking about it in your lab. So if we were to just go ahead and do this math, if I wanted to find the percent composition of just the wafer, right, then what I would do is I would take the mass of my wafers over my total times 100 to see how much the cookies contribute to the mass of the cookie, okay, or the wafers contribute to the mass of the cookie. So if I were to do this, we'll do 5.5 divided by 7.2 times 100. So the wafers account for 76.39% of the mass of the cookie. So for us here, right, we have percent composition of cream. I'm going to take the 1.7 divided by the total times 100. So make sure you're using our correct numbers here, like this. And then we're going to calculate it. So 1.7 divided by 7.2 times 100 is going to give us 23.61%. So you can see here that cream filling doesn't really contribute that much into the weight of the cookie, of the Oreo cookie. Look how thin it is in general. Okay, but that's how you would do percent composition with Oreos, right? Like I said before, if these two numbers didn't add up to the total here, your percentages are not going to quite add up to 100. And that's okay in like a real life lab or activity because of things that could get lost. You did it perfectly, like scrape things off, or you accidentally flung it across the room, and things happen. But that's how you would do percent composition.